Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Titan here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video, I think you guys can obviously tell what's going to happen. We are going to be creating a brand new map with all of the brand new props that came in the 40.0 update. So I was looking around some of the new custom-made maps, looking for a little bit of inspiration, and I kind of have a little bit of inspiration in mind. Now, this isn't going to be made based on any maps that I saw in the map browser. It's just I thought this would end up looking really cool. And what I want to do is I want to create like a snowy mountain, right? And with this snowy mountain, I'm going to have like the balloons come out of like a cave system, because now that we can like raise and lower props, I thought it'd be really cool to like make caves. And then we'll make like a cave or a mountain over here. We'll make another mountain over here. And then I think we'll make like another mountain over here. And maybe like a fourth one. And then we'll have all of the pathways converge in the middle. And then they'll go around like a little lake. And then they'll exit in the top of the map. And I thought that would look pretty cool as long as I can do it right. So the first thing that I want to start off doing is I want to get the mountain set up. Now with the mountain, because we have like a bunch of new props, I don't know exactly how I want to shape the mountain. Because we do have the new snow-covered rocks, but I don't know like how big we can make the new snow-covered rocks. So they could be pretty big, like not small at all, but they're still not like big enough to like kind of make a mountain out of them. Well, actually, you know what? I think we could make a mountain. We just have to be really careful with how we build our mountain. So we'll start off with like the base of the mountain. And then we need to like kind of make it so the props aren't lowered, but they're like tilted a little bit. And then we need to kind of like start shaping our mountain from the bottom all the way to the top. Now it's really cool because we can like raise and lower props, but it's still going to be kind of difficult to make the rocks seem like they're above the other rocks, right? So this is where the cave system is going to come in, and we need to be like really careful with how we design our cave system, because we really want it to stand out, but at the same time, we also want to make it so like this definitely looks like a mountain. So right here, this is going to be the basic ins and out of the mountain like this. And now because the inside of the cave is going to be a little bit like, I don't want to say drier, but the inside of the mountain should not have like as much snow. So we need to keep that in mind. So if I drag this overhang over here like this, and then I come over here to our stamps icon, and then I do this like this. How does that cave look? Like, it doesn't look bad. I just feel like we need to kind of ease the darkness of the cave a little bit more. So we'll start off with like this kind of like lighter shade, and then we'll move the shade into something a little bit darker. And that transition should make it seem like the cave is a little bit more, what's the word I'm going for? Like, there's a little bit more of a transition into the cave, right? All right, and then I'm going to be working with this prop a little bit more because I want the cave to look a little bit better, because right now it looks a little bit weird. And then I think the weird part is I need to make this rock a little bit bigger, and then maybe like tilt it a bit. Maybe if I tilt it a bit, or if I tilt all of the rocks a little bit more, it'll make our cave look a little bit better. So let's go ahead and tilt this. We'll tilt this one like this, and then a little bit towards this side as well. And yeah, that looks way better. And then of course we're gonna have to grab ourselves a couple of rocks to like position under this rock as well. So for the rocks that we're gonna be positioning under this rock, ow, I bit my tongue. For the rocks that we're gonna have to position under this one here, we're gonna have to grab the ones that look similar, but they don't have any snow on top of them, right? So we'll lower this one, we'll make it a little bit bigger, but we also need to be like really mindful that we don't put this rock inside of the actual cave itself. All right, I think that looks pretty good for our first mountain. And then what I want to do, let me go ahead and tilt these a little bit, and we'll tilt these towards us. Now, this is like the first time that I'm trying to like work with all of these new like features that we have with like the raising and lowering of the different props. So if it looks a little bit weird, it's gonna take me a little while to actually get used to like the different perspectives. But eventually we definitely will be able to create some pretty awesome maps. So I think the thing that's like throwing me off, let me go ahead and throw this underneath all of these props. And I think that's what has me like a little like off. Is like the top of the cave just looks a little bit too straight. So if I copy this and then I rotate it, I need to rotate the opposite direction. So, let me see. There we go. I think that looks like a little bit of a better entrance to a cave, but we also have to add a couple more rocks on the outside. That way the cave looks a little bit better, because I kind of wanted to make it look like the cave was going in a little bit further. But let's see how it looks if we like add a little bit more darkness. Oh, that actually looks way better. And then if we remove this rock, I think it'll look better too. Yeah, that looks way better. But I do, wait, no, I don't need to copy that one. I need to come over here and I need to rotate this up and make the cave a little bit small, or the cave entrance a little bit smaller. There we go. And I think that looks pretty sweet. I'm going to add a couple more rocks around the outside of the cave. That way it hopefully blends in a little bit better. And if I do this correctly, it should. There we go. And I think that looks like a pretty interesting cave. Like, it would be really cool if we could like make like a makeshift fireplace on the inside. But for the most part, I don't think that looks bad for a little makeshift cave. So now, like I was saying, I do want to add a couple more caves here. That way we can have the balloons come from the inside of the cave and then go to a separate cave. Or no, not to, yeah. I think having the balloons go to a separate cave would end up looking really, really cool. Originally I was going to have them exit up here in the top, but I think I changed my mind a little bit. I think I want the balloons to go from one cave over to another one. So now they have like the rough ins and outs of how to like work with these rocks and like raising and lower them. I'm going to get the other few caves set up really quick. All right, so I have a second mountain with the cave set up. So I had a little bit of a different idea that I wanted to go with. So I was originally going to make 4 mountains, but the second mountain ended up being absolutely ginormous. So I think instead of going with the 4 mountains, I'm just going to go with 2. And then I'll come up with like a really unique design where like the pathway is going to come out of the mountain, right? And it's going to like circle around like a bridge, or actually it's going to go over a bridge and then come over to this area over here. And we're going to have balloons come out of this cave, and then they're going to come across a different bridge, and then they're going to go over to this cave. And I thought that would look pretty cool. Now, because this is a winter themed map, we're actually going to take advantage of this icy pond or icy lake that we have here. So we'll have like a frozen river that comes down in between these mountains. And then with this frozen river, this should look pretty sweet, right? So we'll have this frozen river come through the middle, and then this frozen river will like branch out into a lake down here. Now the only problem is that I don't want the river to look like it's a different perspective, so we have to like make the shoreline a little bit wonky. Actually, you know what, instead of doing a lake, let's just turn it into a frozen river instead, because I was thinking about it and I think the frozen river would look a little bit better than like going out into a frozen lake, right? So the only question is, how am I going to do this and make it look good? Because right now I almost want to say it almost looks like it has a different perspective, and I don't really like the fact that it looks like it has a different perspective, because these 2 caves, they look like one perspective, and then this river looks a little bit different. Like it almost looks like I have to like kind of make the top of this river a little bit smaller than I make the river down here, right? Or am I just crazy? Now, another thing I want to do is I kind of want to add like little like twists and turns to the river as well, because that could be another thing that's like kind of throwing me off, is the fact that it's just like a couple of straight lines. So if we add like little twists and turns to this river, that should make it look a little bit better. Yeah, so the river goes in between the mountains. Now that we have the river that goes in between the mountains, we need to grab ourselves 2 bridges. And then with these bridges, we're going to be using the bridge that's in the BTD6 Map Editor right now. And we'll have a couple of the balloons like cross this bridge. And then we'll also have a couple of balloons like come down here to the bottom, cross that bridge, and then go in this little opening over here. And I thought that would look really, really cool, but the only problem with we should be fine with using the snowy trail, because the snowy trail will go underneath all of these props, right? And I can't get over the fact that it just looks like a weird perspective. It might be because of this cave that it looks like the map has a little bit of a weird perspective. Maybe it'll look a little bit different once I add the trails. And that's going to be the first trail that goes from this cave over to this cave. Now we need to add ourselves another trail. And then this one's going to go through here. Oh, man. Like, that one side of the shade is going to look really, really, really weird. What can I do to make that look a little bit better? Well, there's nothing that I can really do, unfortunately. We just have to, like, put up with, like, the weird, like, colors with the trail. And then we'll have this one come down here. And then it's going to exit up here in the top, right? So we need to have it come out of the cave similar to the other one. And then this one's going to, like, curve around here like this, and it's going to come over this bridge, and it's gonna exit over here. So this one's gonna come in, it's gonna come down, or wait, no. This side is gonna enter over here, come out of this cave, go across this bridge, and then exit in this cave over here. And then our first pathway is gonna start over here, come out of the cave, go across this bridge, and then exit over here on this side of the map. I think that would end up, or I think that looks pretty cool, right? And then again, the only issue that I'm gonna have is the fact that this is a little bit weird. If we add like a snow pile, well, actually, first thing that I want to do is I want to make this edge a little bit like smoother. Then let's see if we can like get it to where it kind of looks similar to the other pathway. There we go. So we have a 2-pathway map. So now that we have the 2-pathway map, another thing that I want to do is I want to add a little bit of foliage to like break up this really white background. So in order to add a little bit of foliage, we'll add like these little like small trees. Like they look like trees, but they're actually like small like shrubs. Like they're a different type of shrub, right? So like position these along the side of the mountain to add a little bit more color, because I don't want to have trees directly next to the mountain. But if we have these little shrubs, again, that'll break up the really, really white background, and it'll make it look way better. And just by adding those a couple of shrubs, that really added a lot of detail to our map. So now, like I was saying, let's go ahead, we'll add a little bit of greenery. So because this is a snow map, let me go ahead, we'll use like this spruce tree, and then we'll use a couple of spruce trees that have snow on it, because we do have a new spruce tree that actually looks pretty sweet. This one here that has like a bunch of snow on it. And then we'll make it this one like really, 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 really big. And we'll position this one down here. We'll also have one that looks like the snow like dropped off of it, and we'll have this one up here, because like not all of the trees are gonna have snow on them, so it'd be nice to have like a couple that were a little bit different, where they don't have snow on top of them. And then because we can't use lily pads in this river, I'm going to be using like trees along the river to add a little bit more detail. But because I don't want to make this like map impossibly hard, I will like change the size of them, and I'm not gonna be like putting like a bunch of them down. I'm just gonna be like putting down a few, and we'll mix in the snow covered trees with the spruce trees that have all the snow knocked off. We're not going to add a lot of these snowless spruce trees. It's just again to like mix up the contrast of our map a little bit. Now the question is, do we have anything else that we can, well actually we do. We have these small little bushes, but the only problem with these bushes is that they look really similar to the small or the snow covered spruce trees. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell that they're actually like bushes or not. So we'll add like a couple of these around like the snow covered trees, and this should give a little bit more detail to our trees, right? Yeah, that actually looks really, really good. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to add some railings along these 2 pathways too. And then the railing that always, actually, what if I used like a white one? No. Let's use the brown one, and then we'll work with like a couple of these snow props to kind of make this fence blend into our map a little bit better. If I do this correctly, this should look really, really cool. Now, unfortunately, in this update, Ninja Kiwi didn't give us a cap to put at the end of the fences, so we're still left using like these weird looking fences, and it'll make our bridge look a little bit off, but it still should look pretty good. Right now, I kind of want to have it extending out, but if I have it extending out, I'm gonna have to move all of these fences a little bit further back. So that doesn't look like a bad fence at all. Let me go ahead. We'll add the fence down here on this one as well. Now, this bridge is a little bit bigger, but I'm not going to change the size of the fences because I want the fences to like remain the same size. And it'll look like the trees like starting to overgrow the bridge a little bit, because it looks like the tree hasn't been trimmed in a while, right? Now, another thing I'm a little bit worried about, I'm worried that the pathway or the snow pathway doesn't go directly through the bridge. So I'll have to take a look at that really quick in the, wait, no, I think we can actually access Sandbox before we leave the game, right? So let me go ahead and check to see if everything's like positioned correctly. I need to tilt this a little bit. There we go. Luckily, the tree actually covers the one side of this railing, so it should end up looking pretty good. Well, it's not gonna look perfect because I mean, obviously, like having this like cap is gonna end up looking a little bit weird, but it just looks like a little bit of an addition. Yeah, that actually looks really, really good. Now we should be able to jump straight into Sandbox. So let me see what the balloons are going to look like. Okay, so we have a little bit of clippage up here with these two props. So that's something that we're going to have to fix right now. We have to raise this one up a little bit. And by raising it up, it's really not going to affect the way the cave looks at all, but it's going to allow the balloons to actually go through the map and not clip, which is exactly what we're looking for. Now, unfortunately, we can't speed the rounds up, which is all right, because the only thing we want to look, or the only thing we want to see, or the only thing we wanted to make sure of is that the balloons weren't clipping with the rocks. And yeah, we instantly fixed the clipping with the rocks over here. So far, this map looks pretty good. I actually really like the way that it's turning out so far. Now, the background still needs a little bit more detail. So what I want to do is I want to work with this like icy grass. Now we'll position this icy grass along the river just to add a little bit more detail along the river, because there's not too much that we can actually do. But if we just add a little bit of this grass, that should add a little bit of actual detail along the river, right? Well, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and not use that grass. Instead, let's go ahead and we'll grab ourselves a couple of rocks, and then we'll position the rocks next to the river as well. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of rocks that have snow on them, and they're going to be like next to, well, they're going to be all over this map, but there's really nothing else that we could really do to add that little bit of extra detail, right? Now, what else can we add to this map? Let's check out the stamp icons. Wait, no, I already know what I have to do. I have to add snow on this bridge, because if we add the snow on the bridge, it's going to make the bridge look so much better. So we have like these little like snow piles, and if we make them like really small and then we raise them up, we should be able to like add snow on top of the bridge. Yeah, that looks so cool. And then we'll go ahead and like add this on top of like these little pillars, and that's gonna mix up the color a bit, and it's gonna look like the snow is starting to like pile up on top of the actual fence itself, or the actual bridge itself. And then also we're gonna have to use this snow to break up that really blue ice as well, and make it blend into the background a little bit better. Because the ice isn't just going to be like strictly blue. We're going to have to use a couple of these snow piles, and we're going to have to position them like strategically on the ice to make the ice like look a little bit better. And it's little small details like this that can really add a lot of detail to your map. So when you guys are like creating your map, and you guys are like creating like a different like snow covered maps and stuff like that, remember to add these little small details to add a little bit of something extra to your maps, right? And then what if we like add like a little snowman here? Like the monkeys were like playing in the snow, and then they created themselves a little snowman next to these caves before they realized that the caves were like bustling with a bunch of balloons. There we go. We have a couple of little snowmen, and that really makes this map seem a little bit more lively, right? And then we'll add like a little bit of snow drifts on the ice, and this is again going to add a lot of detail to our river, because we can't really add too much greenery, because if we add too much greenery, then it's going to end up looking a little bit off, especially since it's supposed to be like a frozen river, right? Or like a winter map. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add a little bit of snow over here, and we're going to have to raise it up a little bit. We don't want to raise it too high, but we just want to raise it high enough so it's on top of the bridge. There we go. And that added a little bit of a detail with the bridges. So there's a little bit of snow on the bridge. And to be completely honest, like these like snow drifts in the middle of the river turned out way better than I initially thought, because it almost looks like there's land above, or like land in the middle of the river that didn't get frozen. So now what else can we add here to bring a little bit more life to our map? I was debating on adding like those little like grass icy things around these rocks to add a little bit more detail, but I also wonder if like the shrubs would look good, like the really dark shrubs. So the dark shrubs will look like they belong a little bit better, because the dark shrubs seems like, or they almost seem like they belong on winter maps because of how dark they are, right? So let me pull out a couple of these shrubby boys and see how they're gonna look next to these rocks. Actually, you know what? That actually looks really good. I'm not going to add a lot of them. We'll just add a couple. That way, like, the map isn't too green. That, and because we can't, like, put snow on top of these shrubs, I don't want to add too many of them, because I feel like it'll look a little bit off if, like, we have a couple of things that are covered in snow and a couple of things that aren't. But as long as we like maintain a good ratio of props that are covered with snow and props that aren't covered with snow, it'll make the map look a little bit more natural. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And I also want to work with this dead tree a little bit too, because this dead tree would look like one of our homemade trees, but it just lost all of its leaves. So I think if we add a couple of these around our map, actually we won't add too many. I think 2 is more than enough. Now we don't want it to be too cluttered, but we do want to make sure that we have enough detail that it looks good, right? So because these are supposed to be like caves, let me add a couple of boxes outside these caves, and we also need to remember to throw some like snow inside of these boxes as well. Like these boxes look like the monkeys were like mining in these caves, and then they ended up like going home for the winter, right? Next thing, let's go ahead and grab some of the snow, and then with the snow, I'm gonna place a little bit on top of these crates. And yeah, just by adding a little bit of snow on top of these crates, it adds a lot of detail, right? It looks like these crates have been here for a while. And then because this crate is open, we want to sink this snow down into the actual crate itself. And it looked like the crate's been here for so long that the snow actually like filled up the crate, right? All right, so I think that should about do it for the props. Let me check out some stamps and see if we can add a little bit more detail to our plain blue icy background here. So a couple things that I thought would look really cool. These look all right, but in order for us to like use these, we would have to add like a broken section where it looks like the water came through, which is actually something that we can do. I'm not totally opposed to that, but we can also add a couple of these like snow stamps as well, just to add a little bit of extra detail too. Even though we do already have like a bunch of detail with that snow, it definitely adds a lot just having a little bit of extra snow like piled along the trackway, right? And then I think that should about do it. Like I want to try one more prop really quick, because when you have like an icy river, because the water is moving underneath it, sometimes like the ice will break up and the ice will actually move on top of itself. And luckily, there's actually a prop that kind of, I think, if I remember correctly, it should look pretty good on this map if I do it correctly. Yeah, so we have these platforms, and if we make the platforms a little bit smaller and then we rotate them, we're gonna have to blend the snow into the background a little bit, but I think that's gonna add a little bit of detail, especially when we come underneath it with a little bit of shadow. And then in order to have that blend into the map a little bit better, let me go ahead and grab some of the snow. We'll make it a little bit smaller, and then it doesn't blend in perfectly, but it's not bad, right? Yeah, I really like the way that looks. So there's not too much more detail that I want to add, or that I want to add to our map. So let's go ahead. Actually, I want to remove this one, and then let me go ahead and remove this over here, because I do want a little bit more contrast with our bridge, and I felt like we just had a little bit too much snow on our bridge. So now the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and add ourselves a background effect, and we'll see how like the snow or the slow snow feels. I think that's the slow snowfall is going to look really good on this map. But all right, so like I was saying, let's go ahead and add ourselves a little bit of shade as well. There we go, and we added a little bit of shade around our map, and I think that makes our map look pretty solid. So let's go ahead and take a look at it in sandbox mode again, because again, I want to make sure that this pathway looks good. And also I want to test out Moab balloons too. I'm a little bit worried about the Moab balloon clipping with the cave too. Oh my goodness, that's so bad. But we have this rock raised up as much as we can get it, right? So there's not really too much that we can do about the Moab balloon. And of course, the balloon goes right above the tree too. Yes, so we can't raise the props enough in order to make the Moab balloon go underneath it. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but again, there's not really much that we can do about it. So, actually, wait. If I raise this all the way up, will that make the Moab balloon look a little bit better? Let me test it out really quick. I thought I had it all the way up, but I could have been mistaken. No, even with the rock raised all the way up, it's still gonna look a little bit weird. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Like, I was really hoping that we could have gotten away with like the Moab balloons going underneath the rocks. So hopefully that's something that Ninja Kiwi looks at in the future and kind of fixes, because it's a little bit wonky that the Moab balloon goes straight through the pathway. And if the Moab balloon shows, then all of the other balloons are going to show as well. So there's not really much that we can do about that. So again, it's a little bit unfortunate. It's just that there's nothing that we can really do about it. But all right, dudes, and now that we have pretty much completed our map, and now the next thing we have to do is we have to go ahead and choose some background music. For the background music, I think I'm just gonna use Winter's Night Chilled, because that's always a really good one, especially for like really calm maps, right? But let's go ahead and take one last look throughout our map, and it looks like all the props are like spaced out correctly. We don't have any props that don't have any shade to add a little bit more detail. And what should we name our map? So now that we've completed our map, let me go ahead and come up with a really cool name for this map. Now, I'm not sure what I wanted to name this map, but I think I just want to go with like Snowy Trail. I think Snowy Trail sounds pretty solid. I mean, the map looks good. The thumbnail looks pretty solid. It looks like we have the two caves from the thumbnail. You can see the shade in the background. Now, I didn't want to add too much shade because in winter, the sun really like reflects off of the snow, so we don't want to add too much to where the shade is really going to stick out. So I think we just have like the right amount of shade. But now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and play our map. Now, this map should be relatively simple, guys. Like, I didn't like design this map to be like an expert map or anything like that. I just want to come up with like a really fun new map, right? But you guys know what time it is. While we're beating this map, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the series. I know I bring this up every single time, but I can't thank you guys enough for like watching these map creation videos, giving me feedback and giving me ideas. Like, you guys are absolutely crazy, and I really appreciate the support. I appreciate all of the likes, I appreciate all the comments, and of course I appreciate all of the new subscribers as well. That being said, if you guys have any really cool ideas that you guys would like to see me create with the BTD6 Map Editor, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Like, if you guys have a map that you guys would like to see me remaster, like if you guys want me to make a snowy version of a Monkey Meadow, again, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. Or again, if you guys have a map that you guys want to see me like make a different version of, or if you guys want me to remaster the map to make it look a little bit better, that's definitely something else that I can do as well. And also, I haven't been mentioning this enough, but if you guys want to support the channel a little bit more, I do have my own creator code in BT6. It's just H2K Titan. So if you guys like use the BT shop to like buy double cash mode or buy like monkey money or instant monkey packs, please feel free to use my creator code, because of course it does help me out quite a bit. Now, from the sandbox mode, the Moab balloon is going to come from up here. So in order for us to deal with the Moab balloon, we'll have to have a little bit of a defense over here, and I think we can get away with like having a tax shooter or something like that. Now, this map definitely isn't going to be too hard. I would probably have to rate this one maybe in the ballpark of a harder beginner map, but at the same time like a easy intermediate map. Like, there's no way this is an advanced map, because like you have like a lot of time to like hit the balloons right here in this little corner here. And that's actually why I designed this map like this. So another thing that I'm a little bit curious about, now that Ninja Kiwi allowed us to like raise and lower props, I wonder if Ninja Kiwi is going to give us the same option for pathways. Because if we could like make pathways, like there's so many more ideas that we could do if we could like raise and lower the path. Like, we could like make a cliffside trail that goes along a cliffside. Like, we could do that now by just like making a different perspective with the different areas. But in order to like make an actual like snowy trail that goes along a cliffside where you're not able to like hit certain balloons, you would need to be able to raise the trail in order to like put the trail on top of props, right? And also another thing I forgot to check all the different sight lines. So the sight lines for the map look pretty clean. All the props that are supposed to be blocking props can block props, so we really don't have to worry too much about our towers not being able to like hit balloons that they're supposed to be able to hit, right? But let me know, guys, like, what do you guys think of this map? Like, what would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 bananas? Like, would you guys rate it like 2 bananas? Would you guys rate it 5 bananas? Like, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, because of course I want to get better at creating maps. And this is just like my first attempt with all of the new props, so like trying to create a cave system. I do have a couple of really cool ideas that I want to try in the future. Like, I'm not going to spoil them too much right now, because I don't want you guys to like get a hint of what I'm going to do. But the next map that I'm going to be doing should be pretty sweet, guys. And to give you guys a little bit of a hint, the map is going to have to do with a cave system as well. But anyways, dudes, if you guys would like to play this map for yourself, here is the code. But anyways, dudes, again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe as well, because I do upload daily BT6 content. But again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.